Hi everyone, myself Saranya, Assistant Professor from SNS College of Allied Health Science. Today we are going to see about the complications that can occur in the CPB circuit. So I am going to explain about each and every complications in detail. Now the main complication that I am taking here is a venous reservoir. So emptying of venous reservoir can occur when there is a lack of blood from the SVC and IVC. So it is an important role that is perfusionist to monitor the reservoir level. So the reservoir level will be maintained almost a cardiac output of 25%. When the reservoir level falls below 200 to 300 ml, automatically the level sensor will give an alarm. So when the level sensor works, automatically the perfusionist can reduce the pump flows and they can add a priming solution or blood if needed. Emptying of reservoir can cause air embolism. If the air travels through the patient, it can cause a major cerebral accident. So this venous reservoir is considered one of a crucial accidental factor. Next factor I am going to describe about the oxygenator. Oxygenator failure can occur, but it is very rare. Why? Because the oxygenator membranes are very thick and the membranes can get damaged if we are using it in a prolonged duration. So excessive duration of the oxygenator more than 6 hours can cause an oxygenator damage. Or if there is any blood clot present in an oxygenator, it can even causes the oxygenator blood not will be getting oxygenated. So what could be the problem to the patient is the patient will deliver a deoxygenated blood and the patient can go into an hypoxia. So the solution to take up for an oxygenator failure is to change out an oxygenator at the bed of bypass. Though it considered as a very complex procedure, but since there is no option that we want to change the oxygenator to take over the function of the patient's oxygen level in the blood. Next, the component which can get failure is an heat exchanger. Heat exchanger failure is also a common factor because of prolonged usage or because of any manufacturer damage. What would happen when the heat exchanger got damaged is there is a lack of temperature management. You cannot able to manage the patient temperature, that is either rewarming or cooling. The cooling gradient is 1 degree Celsius for 1 minute and rewarming gradient will be 1 degree Celsius for 3 to 5 minutes. This has to be achieved to maintain the metabolic needs of a patient. When there is a damage to the heat exchanger, this cannot be taken over. And another component is a heater cooler failure. When there is a heater cooler failure, automatically the water source which reaches to the heat exchanger will not be functioning. So it is important that perfusionists should check the heater cooler unit before going for a bypass and then check the current supply as well as water supply in the heater cooler unit. And another important factor is a systemic blood pump. Systemic blood pump can either stop at the bed of the bypass because of any failure of the console. If it is happened, it cannot able to push the blood to the heat exchanger from the reservoir. Automatically, the flow which is you are giving to the patient will get drastically reduced. This leads to systemic hypoxia and systemic hypoperfusion. So it is important for the perfusionist should monitor the functioning of a roller pump before going on surgery. They want to check the direction of a roller pump and they want to check the functioning of a roller pump, either it is having any runaway problem. If so, it has to be corrected before going on bypass. But if there is a failure which can occur at the time of bypass itself, it is the responsibility of perfusionist to change this line to another extra pump. Either vent pump or suction pump can be taken as a main pump for the surgery. And another important factor you get a failure is about arterial filter failure. Sometimes there is a clot or a debris which can stuck inside an arterial filter that can cause a membrane damage in an arterial filter. Once this is happening, there is a chance of getting an air embolism or a blood to travel to the patient. It is very crucial accident. So, it is important to measure the line pressure periodically. The line pressure should be 100 plus or minus 10 mmHg. On bypass, it can go till 150 mmHg. When the line pressure increases, that can directly cause a damage in the aorta. The aorta can get ruptured. So, to avoid all these consequences, to maintain the line pressure every day. So, monitoring the line pressure will automatically give the status about arterial filter. So, what will happen if your arterial filter got damaged in the bed of bypass? Then, you want to bypass this arterial filter. For that purpose, they have given a line here. You want to clamp the line which is going into the arterial filter and you can release this line so that the arterial filter will be bypassed and you are giving the flows directly from the oxygenator to the patient. This is the one way to avoid an arterial filter if the line pressure is too high. Okay. So maintaining the line pressure, maintaining the circuit pressure, as well as maintaining the cardioplegia delivery system is very much important for the perfusionist to avoid all these accidents. Thank you for listening.